The Labrador. For Lou, the zoo was her home, and the animals and staff who ran the place were the only family she had ever known. You see, Lou had been abandoned as a puppy, left stranded and helpless on the streets, when Jim, an animal activist, spotted her during one of his daily runs. Without a second thought, he picked up the small Labrador and took her to the zoo, where he walked as a consultant. And just like that, Lou had found a home. As she grew, Lou became a beloved canine in the zoo because of her positive personality and eagerness to help. She would dutifully check up on all the zoo animals alongside Jim, and would always try to help out with work around the zoo in any way she can. And it continued this way until Jim received a concerning call. One of the organizations he worked with informed him about 3 tiger cubs that had been left behind by their mother. This wasn't something that happened every day. It was quite rare for tigers to abandon their young when they could not yet fend for themselves. So this meant that something tragic must have happened to their mother, and the next step was to find a new home for them as soon as possible. The following day, the cubs arrived at the zoo, and the staff were obsessed with them. How could you not? In the middle of settling in the new arrivals, Jim noticed that Lou was unusually captivated by the cubs. She had hardly taken her eyes off them and stayed as close to them as possible. The vet even suggested allowing Lou to interact with the cubs and see how the situation unfolds, and it is fair to say that they were shocked. It was as if the maternal instinct in Lou was awakened when she saw the cubs. She immediately gathered them close to her belly, giving tender licks to show affection. She took on a protective demeanor, as if announcing that the cubs were her babies and she would protect them, no matter what it takes. Fortunately, the tiger cubs were comfortable around her and accepted her affection. Realizing the profound connection Lou shared with the cubs, the staff allowed Lou to take on the role of a mother, a role that she played to perfection. She looked after the cubs with utmost dedication, spending almost all of her time with them. She looked after their feeding and once in a while sanctioned them for bad behavior. Under her care, the cubs became less timid and grew to become energetic young cats. But this unconventional family could only last so long. In a couple of months, the cubs needed to interact with other big cats, and Lou, on the other hand, needed some protection from the cubs because of their sharp claws. When the time came to be separated, Lou wasn't eager to let the cubs go, but she knew it had to happen. That was going to be the end of their relationship because there were no plans to ever reunite them. But the best things in life are always the most unexpected. Fateful reunion. 2 years had passed and things were going on as normal when a typhoon struck the zoo. The zoo had weathered a lot of storms, so Jim and his team immediately swung into action to protect the animals and make sure that nothing important was damaged. But amidst the chaos, the staff forgot about Lou and her dislike for storms. Alone and frightened, Lou ran around seeking shelter from the storm. Unable to see clearly, she ran over a wall and tumbled into an area of the zoo that she had long forgotten about. This was where the adult tigers were kept, and Lou had no business being there. Thankfully, Jim had noticed that Lou was missing and was already looking for her. By the time he found her, she was standing face to face with formidable tigers, each of them assessing whether Lou was a threat or a treat. But before they could attack, 3 more tigers came forward and formed a barrier between Lou and the rest of the tigers. Seeing how protective the young tigers were of Lou, the older tigers returned back to their positions because they knew she wasn't a threat to them. With the threat of an attack out of the way, the tigers huddled around Lou and protected her from the storm. Even though they were separated for a long time, the bond they shared was unbreakable, and Lou will always be remembered as the mother who showed them love when they needed it the most.